Brittany, what on earth do you think you're doing? I heard you didn't see Jonathan off again today. Were you still in bed while he was getting ready for work? You've been treating him so poorly. You're still his wife, even if you're the laziest one I've ever seen. This is unacceptable. My son doesn't deserve a wife like you. You two should consider a divorce.
Layla, that's not fair. Jonathan left for work very early today, around 5 a.m., which is much earlier than usual. He told me not to get up early for him. Just because I couldn't see him off to work today doesn't mean I don't do it every day.
So, you're saying that Jonathan told you to stay in bed and you didn't see him off just because it was too early for you? That's just an excuse. You're spoiled and lazy. If you were my age, you'd be divorced by now. I won't let you off the hook. As my son's wife, you'd better shape up. I won't let Jonathan feel sorry for you.
I understand your concern, Layla. But how did you know what time Jonathan left for work?
What a silly question. I've been chatting with him on WhatsApp every day since 5 a.m. Did you know that? So, I know when he leaves the house. I know everything about my son.
You're using WhatsApp? I had no idea. You text Jonathan that early every day? Do you realize how busy he is every morning before work?
What are you implying? Are you jealous? It's just a message. He can glance at it and reply within an hour. You don't even know that. You're way behind me.
Within an hour? Do you even set a time limit for Jonathan to reply? I wasn't aware of that.
Of course. I'm not surprised at all. This is our family rule. It's been in place since the day he got his phone. As his wife, it's your duty to remember that rule. If you don't, we won't tolerate it.
Do I have to follow the same rule too? Alright, then I'll do my best.
Oh, but for you, it's only 10 minutes, not an hour to reply. It should be easy for someone who lounges around all day like you do. There's no way you need an hour to reply.
What? 10 minutes? But I'm busy too.
Stop playing games with me, Brittany. As my son's wife, it's my duty to train you to be a better wife. If you can't do that, then divorce is the only option. My son deserves better than a wife who can keep her promises.
Oh no, Layla. I can't always respond within 10 minutes as I'm not glued to my phone all day.
No excuses will be accepted, Brittany. This is my decision as Jonathan's mother. Also, make sure to properly send Jonathan off tomorrow morning and don't use his early work hours as an excuse. Is that clear? Moreover, make sure to visit me this evening.
This evening? But Layla, I have an appointment to take Claire to the otolaryngologist this evening.
That shouldn't be a problem. Just take her to the otolaryngologist and then come over to my house afterwards. It's not that difficult unless you're looking for excuses again.
But Claire is only 5 years old and she needs me to stay with her.
She'll manage just fine on her own. She's a strong girl like her mother, and she'll find a way around it. Girls grow up faster when they're left alone sometimes. Remember what I said earlier and make sure to come over in the evening. If you don't follow my orders, Jonathan will have no choice but to divorce you. If you want to stay married to my son, then do as I say.
Okay, I'll make it work. I'll be there on time this evening.
You should have said that in the beginning. You're a real pain in the ass, you know that? You're also not a petty wife. I wonder what did Jonathan like about you? Nothing good at all. Brittany, I heard what you did. You made Jonathan pick your daughter from the otolaryngologist, didn't you? That's not right. He's exhausted from work, and you're such an inconsiderate wife to have him pick up your daughter. I can't believe mothers these days can even take care of their own children. You're just using Jonathan to do things for you. This is unacceptable.
Layla, you said that your orders are absolute. So I did what you told me to do yesterday. I went to your house to clean up and pick up the food you made for Jonathan, didn't I?
Don't you dare talk back to me like that. You're treating Jonathan as if he were some sort of servant. You're just not good at what you do.
I'm not treating Jonathan like a servant. Claire is his child, too. It's normal for a married couple to share the responsibility of taking care of their child. Yes, parenting can be challenging at times, but isn't it rewarding to raise a child together? When I asked Jonathan to take care of our daughter, he was thrilled and said he was happy to do it. He even said it was the first time he accompanied Claire to the hospital, and he seemed to enjoy it too.
You think he said that seriously? You're such a silly girl. He was just trying to impress you. He couldn't say no because he was afraid of you, the mean wife. You should at least understand that. You can understand people's feelings, can you? You're pathetic.
The mean wife? Did Jonathan say so?
He's a very nice boy, unlike you. He's sensitive, so even if he thinks about something, there's no way he'd say it. He won't say how he truly feels, and I'm sure about that. I'm his mother. I know everything. I can tell by his words and the tone of his voice that he doesn't like it.
His voice? Did you talk to him directly? You said that you were only texting him by WhatsApp, weren't you?
Yes, we've been texting each other. He's busy, so I didn't call him. Unlike you, I care about my son. He's too busy to pick up the phone when I call him.
You didn't hear his voice, did you? You said something about words, tone of voice.
Shut up! I don't have to hear his voice, but I can get a sense how Jonathan feels just by reading his messages. Unlike you, I'm his mother. Our hearts are connected to each other.
I see. But this time we did it after discussing it between the two of us as a married couple, and Jonathan enjoyed it, so it's already resolved. I thought it was fine since I didn't bother you.
Jeez, that's not the issue. You should use your head and think more. If you're a wife, you shouldn't bother your husband. It's something you have to manage on your own. You're depending on your husband for everything. When I was young, I didn't let my husband do anything. We can't let that man bother us. Isn't that right? That's what I call supporting my husband. You should learn more from me. Do you know what I mean? Don't make me say the same thing every time I talk to you.
Yes, I'll try to work harder.
Do you really understand? You're just trying to run away from problems, aren't you? I'll have to talk with Jonathan more about this and have him dump you. I can see right through you. Brittany, I'm so sorry for your loss. If there's anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to let me know. I had no idea your father had been battling illness for so many years. I'm truly sorry that I didn't notice.
Thank you for your kind words, Layla. About my father, I didn't share his illness with others because he wanted to keep it private. The home care nurse took excellent care of him during his final days. My father trusted her implicitly, and so do I. She's been a tremendous support to us.
That's comforting to hear. Your father was a kind man, and I'm sure he didn't want you to worry about him. If I were in his shoes, I would do the same to spare my son any distress. I would want him to always have a smile on his face, so don't be too hard on yourself, okay? You did your best you could.
Oh, Layla, thank you so much for saying that. It's been tough not being able to visit home often, and not letting my father see Claire at all. It's been incredibly hard, and I can't help but feel that there was more I could have done for him.
It's all right, Brittany. Your father wouldn't blame you for what happened. On the contrary, I'm sure he cared deeply for you. After all, you are his cherished daughter, aren't you?
Yes, you're right. My father was a very kind man who raised me with love.
And he left behind a legacy, didn't he?
Legacy? What are you referring to?
Well, the grand house, the exquisite vase of flowers in the room during the funeral, your father's expensive wristwatch. And there was even a large painting. All of those are luxury items, aren't they? As his only daughter and with your relatives estranged, all of these now belong to you, right?
Yes, they're all mementos of my father. But why do you ask?
Oh, it's nothing really, just checking in on things. Anyway, why don't you take some time off? You need some rest both mentally and physically. Leave the rest to me. As you know, I'm quite good at organizing and cleaning.
No, Layla. I appreciate your offer, but it's something that I need to do myself at my own pace.
Brittany dear, there's no need to hesitate. In times like this, it's okay to accept help from others. You can count on me since I'm your mother-in-law.
No, Layla. There might be things that hold sentimental value for me, and it might be difficult for you to distinguish between them.
Brittany dear, from now on, consider me as your mother. Leave it all to me. I'll make sure to distinguish between important keepsakes and things that can be discarded.
No, Layla, really. Please respect my wishes. Layla, are you listening? Layla, I'm surprised to hear that you brought a person from the real estate agent to my parents' house. What in the world are you going to do with that house? You can't do whatever you want without permission.
Brittany, I've been dreaming about this for a long time. I was going to proceed secretly, but
Dream?
a new family house. Oops, I should have kept this as a secret.
What do you mean?
When my son get married, I'll live together with him and his wife. Then his wife will take care of all the house chores. I'll be free from the duty of taking care of my husband, and I'll hang out with some friends to sing, which is my hobby. And when I come home, my favorite meal is ready, and I can take a bath whenever I want. I've been dreaming about that since a long time ago. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That's the best part of having a daughter-in-law.
You're not going to do that in my father's house, are you?
Oh no, I wouldn't do it in that house. I'm very picky about my taste, you know. I want a Western-looking house, which is quite popular recently. I don't want to live in your parents' old-fashioned house. Well, I do like the size of it anyway.
Old-fashioned house? How rude! It's a beautiful historic house. That house was inherited by my father from my grandfather.
But it's your house now, isn't it?
Well, I'm the owner now.
Right? Gosh, I wonder how hard it is to explain things to you. I was trying to say that I own that house.
I beg your pardon? Stop kidding me. Of course it's not your house.
Because what belongs to the wife of my son belongs to his family. It's obvious. I will decide what I want to do with that house. And you have no choice.
Do you really think you're allowed to be selfish like that? I won't allow that to happen.
Then you must divorce my son.
Seriously?
If you won't give me the house, then divorce Jonathan. I don't want him to stay married to such an uncaring wife. I went to the trouble of giving you the chance for filial piety. And you want to pass up the chance?
Filial piety?
That's right. You don't have parents or relatives anymore, do you? You don't even have a home to go back to. I'm saying that I'll create a home for you to go back to, and I'll be your parent. And I'm giving you the chance for filial piety. You should be so grateful that I care for you that much.
Oh dear. You were kind enough to talk to me and Claire. Just because you wanted to make some investigation of my parents' house?
Of course not. I did it because I sincerely wanted to support you, you know. I felt sorry for Jonathan if you guys are depressed. Oh, and I went looking for the deed of the house, but it wasn't at your place.
The deed. So that's why you went to my father's house, didn't you?
Well, yes, of course. Giving that house to me is your first act of filial piety. So please give me the deed of that house or change the owner's name to me as soon as possible. Well, if you don't want to do that, I can ask Jonathan to destroy the house. I've told you that you have no right to choose, haven't I?
I can't believe it. It's insane. Just because you don't like me. You even try to take the inheritance from my father. I don't think a person with kindness will do such a thing. And you're trying to use my inheritance for your own desires. Please leave my father's belongings in the house alone.
You can say whatever you want. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to turn that house into a duplex. That's what I'm going to do. And you'd better sell or throw away everything in that house as soon as possible. You won't need those in the new house. Well, I'll give you 2 months to clean up and do the paperwork. Just get it over with. And when you're done, let me know at your earliest convenience. I'm bringing in the person from a real estate agent that I'm familiar with, and I've already talked to him. See you later. What's happening here? Why is there a stranger living in that house? I wasn't informed about this. I thought you had cleared out your house. My dream of having a duplex is being shattered by this stranger. What on earth did you do? I need an explanation that makes sense. I went over there to help clean the house, and there was a stranger living there. They even changed the lock so I couldn't get in. And there were security cameras all over the place. Who are these people?
Layla, the truth is, that house isn't mine anymore.
What? What are you talking about? Who's going to believe such nonsense? That house was your father's legacy. It holds sentimental value for you, right? You just handed it over to strangers like that? You always resisted whenever I suggested doing something with that house, didn't you?
I didn't just hand it over. I gave the house as a token of my gratitude to my father's former home care nurse and her family.
A home care nurse and her family? Were you threatened by them? They're strangers. Have you lost your mind to give the house to strangers? I can't believe it. Why would you do that? That house should have been mine.
It was never yours to begin with. Are you sure that you understood what I've told you before? I don't recall ever promising it to you. Besides, that house isn't an inheritance from my father. He gave it to me while he was still alive.
When did he give it to you? Does that mean the house has been yours for a long time? Oh my God! That means we could have built a duplex much earlier. How could you keep such an important thing a secret from me? Did you do it on purpose? You need to tell me right now. As my son's wife, it's my responsibility to manage your property. I can't believe you kept such an important thing from me and Jonathan. You two really should get a divorce. I can't trust someone like you. The thought of living with a liar like you is unbearable. Divorce Jonathan immediately. By the way, are you also trying to steal my family's property too?
Oh my God, Layla, I have nothing to hide. I've told Jonathan everything. In fact, he even knew about my father's condition before I told him about it.
Huh? What? Why?
Well, at the hospital, my father asked him to take care of me. He also said we can do whatever we want with the house. We don't have to keep it forever. We can sell it or whatever we want with it. So Jonathan and I thought about it and decided what would be the best thing to do. We decided to give the house to the home care nurse who had kindly taken care of my father for several years instead of us. But when we tried to give it to her as a gift, she refused. So we are renting it to her now for 10 years.
So after 10 years, that house will be mine then. My son really did a great job.
No, the agreement was that after 10 years, the house would belong to the home care nurse. She agreed to that.
Oh no! Then that house, my dream, will be completely in someone else's hands.
Please don't misunderstand me. I've told you many times from the beginning that house doesn't belong to you. It belongs to me, and what I do with it is up to me. Jonathan knows this.
You think being selfish is acceptable just because you're my son's wife? Who gave you the permission to do such a thing? Divorce Jonathan immediately. I can't take this anymore.
Layla, please stop being so selfish. Were you even listening to what I told you? Besides, Jonathan agreed to this decision. Listen to me carefully. I'm going to say it to you one more time. I've already discussed with Jonathan everything about renting that house to someone and giving it away after 10 years.
That's because Jonathan is just being nice to you, that he can even say what he wanted to say. He couldn't disobey you, so here we are. The evil wife. Are you trying to manipulate my son just like that? I'm on my way over there now. Call Jonathan and tell him to come home. I can't wait even for 1 minute.
Call him. It's still noon. Jonathan is at work right now. Don't be so selfish. I can't call him out for something like this. It will just interfere with his work. It's too much trouble.
If you can't, I'll call him. What a useless woman you are. You just don't want to call Jonathan, right? That's not going to happen.
Please don't do that. You really are annoying. Why are you bothering your own son?
Huh? What did you say? I'm his mother, you know. I just want to let my son know, since this is an important thing. Children, listen to their parents.
Gosh, Layla, it's not important at all. It's not even life-threatening, is it? Please leave your son alone in the first place. It's not an emergency. And you're calling Jonathan. It will cause trouble for the company he works for. They'll just think that you are insane. You'll embarrass your son, too.
If he doesn't answer, I'll just go to his office. I have to talk to him quickly and kick you out of the house.
Going to his office? I think it's useless. Jonathan is not there. Well, I shouldn't tell you about this, but looks like I have no choice. He actually resigned from that company years ago.
What? What do you mean, years ago? Resigned? No way. That's impossible.
Yes, you used to go to the company where Jonathan worked 3 times a week. I heard that you went there to have lunch with him, or to have dinner together after work. I heard that you didn't allow him to work overtime. That's why you were sitting at the entrance of the company, right?
What's wrong with that? I wasn't interrupting his work. I just wanted to be together with my son. I have to look out for him. I need to make sure he's doing his job and not being bullied by his colleagues. If you were a parent, you'd do the same thing.
You might think that's the right thing to do, but for most people, that's crazy. Do you know his boss at work warned him about that a lot? Even if I told you in a roundabout way, you didn't listen to me. Everyone was laughing at Jonathan, and I felt sorry for him. I don't think you, who only cares about yourself, even noticed.
That can't be true. Jonathan didn't like me. His colleagues were laughing at him. It's just jealousy, isn't it? They envied him because his mother are taking a very good care of him.
Do you really think so? Do you have any idea about how Jonathan really feels? What about now? Jonathan hasn't replied to your text, has he? Maybe he's not even reading it. I heard from Jonathan that he's been reading all of your messages, but didn't reply.
Oh, but...
You were spying on him by checking the time when he read your messages. And I heard you even tried to secretly put a GPS on his phone.
What? How did you find out about that?
Because Jonathan is working as a smartphone app developer right now.
Oh no!
He knows, so he'll turn off his phone when he rides the subway. That way you won't know where his company is. How much trouble are you going to put your son through? He was lamenting that if he did a bad job of blocking incoming calls or something like that, you would even come to the house. But that's all over today. We're at our limit.
What? What do you mean by that?
We've decided to sell the money from renting the house. And the things in my father's house and migrate.
Migrate? Where? I didn't hear you talk about that.
I don't know, but I'm not going to tell you anyway. I don't want you to spy on us.
Wait, please don't take him away from me. He's all I have. I beg you that.
That's for Jonathan to decide. It's not for me to say, but this environment is not good for you and Jonathan.
I don't want to. I don't want to leave him. We are meant to be together. I shudder just thinking about getting separated from my son.
We've always hated what you've done to us, you know that? But we've been holding it back for a long time. Jonathan is kind, so he couldn't tell his precious mother about how he really feels. I know that too, so I've been trying to treat you nicely. But we were fed up with your selfish behavior, and we've had enough. You despise our daughter and keep demanding me to get a divorce every day. You even tried to sell my father's house without my permission. Do you think you are allowed to do whatever you want just because you're my mother-in-law? I don't think so. You are so selfish. I can't take it anymore. We're under a lot of stress because of you.
I'm sorry it went too far, so give me a second chance. Give me a second chance to apologize to Jonathan. I need him.
I told you, didn't I? Jonathan is the one who's decided. Anyway, are you telling me that you'll only apologize to Jonathan? You're the kind of person who never wavers until the end, aren't you? I'm sorry. Enough is enough. I have a plane to catch, so I gotta go. Thank you for your support. I won't contact you ever again. Goodbye.
Please, wait! Brittany!
We moved to a new place and settled down, hoping to leave behind the troubles caused by my mother-in-law. She had always been hostile and domineering, but after we left, she became quiet and withdrawn. She hardly ever left the house, and whenever the phone rang, she would rush to answer it, hoping it was her son. But every time she realized it wasn't, she would sink into disappointment. She missed him terribly, but she didn't realize how much she had hurt him. She had been so dependent on him that she couldn't stand the idea of him having his own life. My father-in-law assured me that he would take care of her and help her heal. He said we should cut off contact with her for a while so that she could reflect on her actions and learn to respect us. We agreed and used the money we had earned from our hard work to buy a house in the countryside, where we could start anew. We were busy with our new life, supporting each other and enjoying every moment. Maybe one day, when my mother-in-law changed her attitude, we would see her again. But not yet. Not until she sincerely apologized for her mistakes.